rappers have always known to be very slick in the 1980s and 90s with the slick jabs, disses, barbs that people might not have even caught until 10, 20 years, 30 years later. Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick. His name was Slick Rick. They all had slick disses at people. Slick Rick went at, NWA and West Coast rappers in the late 80s. There's some people still don't even know that happened. KRS-One, he had some shots at Ice Cube in the early 90s in certain records. Or at least that one record, I think it was called We In There or We In Here. That's another thing. Why do some songs have multiple titles? Like, it's called We In There or We In Here, whatever. But he went at everybody. I think I talked about that on this channel. Hit the like button. Now, that theme continued in the late 90s when you have the whole East Coast versus West Coast conflict. And in mid 96, Biggie Smalls is recording Life After Death. And during this time, this is when Tupac is having his conflict with Bad Boy Records. And Snoop Dogg is right there on the side of it all. And Snoop Dogg, who just got off a murder trial, was drained. And he didn't really care for more conflict in his life. He just had a murder trial. So when you talk about, or people talk about, Snoop Dogg was being disloyal to Tupac and Death Row because he went on the radio with Angie Martinez. Okay, you have to think. Snoop Dogg was on trial for murder. He could still be in prison to this day. Do you know how heavy that is on you? So when he fortunately was found innocent, the drain of going through that, then even the drain and the relief of hearing innocent, as a human being, if you were just on trial for murder and you got off, do you want to jump into another conflict? No. This is the problem with fans. The person I like said this, so I'm going to follow what they said for the rest of time. Snoop Dogg was tired of conflict. He was drained from it, including a rap conflict. So that's why he went and said he doesn't have no problems with Bad Boy Records and Puff Daddy, Sean Honeycombs and Biggie Smalls. That's why. He also didn't want to have conflict with people at Death Row Records. Another reason why he left in 97, 98. He was trying to avoid conflict because that's what smart people do. This wasn't some 6ix9ine thing where you started something and now you're running from it. No, this was Snoop Dogg is in something he didn't start. He's in it because Suge Knight started it and Puff Daddy Combs started it and then Tupac started it. He's in it because he just happens to be associated. Now, Tupac passes, and at this time, Life After Death was supposed to release in 1996 on Halloween night. The album was pushed back to 1997, and in, I believe, November of 96, that's when Snoop Dogg drops his second album, highly anticipated, The Dogfather. I have to review that album. I remember really not liking it, but then I listened to it and it was like, all right. But then all right is like, all right does not meet the standard of Snoop Dogg and Death Row Records. There are a couple songs on that album I really, really like Gold Rush and I think it was Blueberry. But other than that, it screams C minus type of grade. But that's not the point. I believe it did still go double platinum, which, in the 90s, double platinum was kind of regular, but whatever. So, Biggie Smalls, who did finish his album in 96, they push it back They go to LA in 97. Puffy wants more songs. They're working on, so they basically they add more work to Life After Death. Puffy wants to be a rapper now. Him and Clive Davis is doing whatever they do in that office. If you know, you know. Hit the like button. So Puffy want to be a rapper now. Puffy want to be MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice. And that's the video for another day. How the Puff Daddy character was just a remix of MC Hammer, and just better protected by Clive Davis and them small hats. So Puffy want to rap, and when you get to 97, Biggie's still working on his album. Puffy's working on his album. And by working, I mean everyone else is working. Puffy's going to take the credit. The Lox, they're working on their album, which will come out in 98, but they're working on it. And they're also working on, they're going to be on all these albums too. Last Day with Biggie. They're writing for Puffy. Puffy's verses on All About the Benjamins and all that. Mace is working on his debut album. So Bad Boy Records is gearing up for a monstrous 1997, which they did have. And even at this time, you still had Total was around. Black Rob was at Bad Boy since like 93, which I don't think most people even know that story, but Black Rob was always at Bad Boy. He just was never like showcased until, what was it? I Love You Baby on No Way Out, I believe it was. Fire record. He said something like I ran out of ammo, so I started throwing bottles or something. Something like Black Rob is a legend, man. Rest his soul, man. But when you get to 97, Biggie Smalls, who carried on the New York 80s lineage of the slick wordplay and puns and double meanings. People think Jay-Z started the whole like subliminal dissing. No, that's just a New York thing. So one of the well-known tracks on Life After Death is a track called Somebody Gotta Die. And there's a part of the song, infamous line, where Biggie Smalls says, "I'm trying to sell records like Snoop. Oops." Now, Snoop Dogg for 25 years has been going around saying Biggie shouted me out when he said that, which I think people would think. But you have to remember, Biggie Smalls, he had that New York arrogance. He had that come on, man, it's Biggie Smalls, man. He was the king. He's still the king, damn it. Him and Tupac Shakur is still the kings. They still the two kings of this thing. So, but he did have that New York arrogance. So then you have people like Gene Deal, who's a very truthful person. Gene Deal, he deserves more credit. He deserves more light. He's not going to get that from Puffy. But Gene Deal, who I enjoy hearing. But Gene Deal saying Biggie didn't like Snoop Dogg. And he's saying that I'm trying to sell records like Snoop. Oops. That was a diss because apparently the Dogfather at the time, it didn't sell like it didn't really sell like it was hyped to be, because it was supposed to be a big album. Snoop Dogg's second album was one of the most anticipated albums ever, from Doggy Style and The Chronic and Death Row's on Fire, and then people heard him on Two of America's Most Wanted. So in 96, people was waiting for the next Snoop Dogg album. Now eventually, like I said, it did hit double platinum, but I don't think it sold that fast at the time. I think it might have reached double platinum maybe like 97, 98. It wasn't like a monster seller at the beginning, and the reviews were mediocre. So Gene Deal is alleging that when Biggie Smalls says, "I'm trying to sell records like Snoop," oops, the line means Snoop was selling in 93, but then he drops this album in 96, and he's not selling like that. So oops, I wanted to sell like him, but not no more, because look at what he's selling now. So, but you know what? The thing about this rap thing, it could be both. It could be both. It's a shout out and a jab. But that's nothing new in rap. The Life After Death is a classic album. Got to review that one too. But that whole album, Biggie Smalls, this is his revenge album. He goes at everybody. he, kicking the door, just fire. Oh my God, just he goes at Nas and J. Rue the Damager and Wu Tang, and apparently one of the lines on there was about Tupac too. The cursed it, but you rehearsed it. I guess I don't know, but that album, Long Kiss Goodnight, just you turn what is it? You turn green like cucumber skin. Oh my God, hit the like button, man. But Biggie Small Snoop Dogg, it's kind of like a odd. I don't know. It's kind of like an odd relationship because you only get Snoop Dogg stories these days, and Lil Cease. Am I the only one who's annoyed by Lil Cease? Watching a Lil Cease interview is pointless. He's like a shorter Tony Yayo. Like he don't remember nothing. Like oh God, Lil Cease. You can just tell he don't have a GED. You can just tell, man. Oh God, man. Hold your children. And with that said, hit the Cash App in the description if you have a request. Like, share, comment. I'm out of here. I'm out of here, man. Oh God.